Welcome to another episode of Wind Down with Kev. You know what we do here, but before I get into what we do, let me start out with a little bit of gratefulness. Let me say thank you to everybody that has already subscribed to the YouTube channel, everybody that's following the Wind Down with Kev channel on IG. I really appreciate your support. I thank you for hitting the notification buttons. I thank you for sharing with your friends. And you know what we do here. We try to bring you amazing guests that's doing incredible things. The idea of the Wind Down with Kev Dream Chaser podcast is to bring you special people that can encourage you so you can inspire and be inspired by them as well. Tonight is no different. Tonight, I'm bringing you my brother, my friend, Mr. Alistair Edwards. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a boss. He is a boss amongst bosses who's been at this for a while. I was doing my research, which is code word for scrolling down his IG page, and I see my brother traveling. I see him getting awards for being consistent 240 months in a row. What? This is not an overnight success. This is not someone that's new to the game. He is true to the game. Alistair, introduce yourself to the people. Alistair, introduce yourself to the people. Tell them a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all of those good things.
Well, man, Karen, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your platform with me, man. Definitely honored to be a guest, man. I've watched what you've been doing, and you two have been doing some amazing things. So to be asked to be a part of your show is truly humbling and a blessing. Like you said, my name is Alistair Edwards. Background is, where do I start? Grocery retail was what I grew up in. 27 years with large grocery store chain, Public Supermarkets. In 2003, got introduced to the network marketing world, the multi-level marketing world, partnered with a company called Prepaid Legal, now known as Legal Shield, going on my 20th year with them. Yes. And then I have my own sales training and coaching company. So we teach sales. I teach people how to sell, whatever your product or service is. If you're having trouble getting it out to your potential clients or customers or getting them to sign on the dotted line, I'm the person that helps you get that done. Right. So I tend to make sales. Yeah. So that's basically the short version of everything.
Short version. Well, we're going to dig further than that, especially teaching how to sell. People have a lot of products, a lot of service, a lot of good ideas. I love this innovation generation that we're living in, right? We have a lot of content creators. I feel like the world is brand new and wide open. But I heard a long time ago that nothing happens until the sale is made.
Agreed. Nothing happens until the sale is made. Everything else is just an exposure.
It's just an idea. It's one of those long conversations that, Alistair, you know what we should do? You know what would be amazing if we did this and if we did that? But if you don't put that thing together and put that offer out there for someone to say yes or no, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? That is the big question. Well, we definitely going to get into you being a boss. Let me get into a little bit of personal stuff before you. I see some Greek letters behind you. What's that all about?
Okay. Spring 87, member of the first fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. So I pledged my freshman year in college.
Okay.
And so, yeah, joined an amazing organization, a great brotherhood. And, you know, we do a lot of community service, work in the community. And yeah.
First among first, Alpha Phi Alpha 1906. I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma 1914, proud member. My best friend, rest his soul, he was an Alpha. Love what y'all do. Love the legacy of Alpha and love everything about the Divine Nine and everything that it stands for. But Alistair, before we jump into the business aspects, I've seen you post about your beautiful family. So please shout them out before we go directly into the business parts.
Okay. I am a proud father of 3 amazing kids. I was married for 27 years, got divorced in 2019. My daughter is 26 and she serves in the military. She is currently, she actually just got deployed last week. So she'll be gone on a 1-year tour. So I'm praying for her overseas. I have a son that's 25. He's a budding actor, just got a leading role in a movie. He is a photographer and model. So he does
Yes.
all three, and he's doing very well. And then I have another son that's 25 who is working with Walmart with supply chain and logistics. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, thank your daughter for her service to the country. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Lifted up in prayer as well. And thank God for your son, especially being a triple threat. I think it's very important to be well-rounded. One effort to be in front of the camera, but that consistency from being behind the camera, all those things are really good, and knowing how those things work and how they come together. So we've already established that you are a boss. Talk to me about the journey. Did you walk in 2003 on top of the game, or did you have to pay some dues and really learn this thing?
Man, it starts early in life. Born in England to Jamaican parents. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So depending on who I'm around, you get to hear the strong Jamaican accent, you know. Who our family is Jamaican, you know. Grew up in Jamaica from 3 to 14,
Yes.
and then moved to Hollywood, Florida for high school. My parents decided to move here to kind of finance my sister's college education. She was the youngest to graduate from George Washington University in medical, valedictorian pediatrician. So,
God, wow.
and then I started working with public supermarkets, grocery store chain.
Okay.
Started bagging with them, and then went into the stock, and then went to deli, then went to produce, and you know when we then ran the front end for them while I was in college at Florida A&M. And then when they decided to open up the very first store in Atlanta, I was asked to come to be a part of that. And then ended up being a store manager with them for 16 years. Did 16 years in management with Publix.
It's no substitute for learning how things work from inside of a corporation.
Most
I would
definitely.
say you learn so much, especially when you pay your dues from job first all the way up the chains of corporate management, because you get to see how things work for real, and you
How
really
these-
know the operation.
Yeah. I always tell everybody, I say one of the best things I learned from working in that industry is understanding a P&L, a profit and loss statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody, even as entrepreneurs, we should have a P&L for our business. You should know where every expense is going. There's a difference between profit and net profit.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
a lot of people brag about gross profit. I want to hear you brag about your net profit. Like, what are you keeping? What are you taking home? What are you able to invest with? Right? After all the expenses, are you making enough to really advance yourself and your family? So yeah, net profit is the key.
So that makes sense to me, but let's simplify it for our audience a little bit. A lot of people talk about what they made. Alistair, I did this and I made that, but I'm only showing you what I made. I'm not telling you about my expenses, what I put into it, the cost of the material, the labor, the marketing, the advertising, the travel that might have been involved. When you're working with perhaps new people with Legal Shield and you're teaching them how to make money and sell a product, or you're training, I understand you're training around the country now. How do you teach them? What are some of the tools you teach them to help them track and keep up with the expenses and know the difference between gross revenue and net profit, just so they know what they're making, what they're spending, and how to keep an eye on it?
So one of the exercises I do, especially in my personal sales coaching program, so I have a coaching program that anyone can sign up for, where we talk about sales. One of the first things we do is we create your baseline P&L, your
Yes.
baseline profit and line statement. Like, there are certain expenses that we know are just standard expenses: mileage,
Yes.
gas, advertising. Are you buying ads? How much are you spending on ads? Depending on what your business is, there are some expenses that we know are just staples.
Right.
Right. So with those staple expenses, you can create a staple, what I call P&L.
Yes.
Right. And then you can put in some miscellaneous lines in case to go do a presentation, you may have to book a flight or get a hotel room. So you can add those travel expenses in. And then the question is, how much did you get paid for that engagement? How much did you get paid for that selling that object or that service? And then we're going to deduct all of these line items from what you got paid. And that will determine if we had a profitable event or if we were just doing some charity work.
There is a difference.
And here's what I realized. I would say 60% of the people think they're in profit mode are actually in charity mode.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I love that you said
That I made $1,000, but they forgot that it took them. I had to travel. I had to get a hotel room. I ate while I was there. If you start deducting all the expenses that you spent in the process of making that $1,000, you are actually in the red. You actually lost money.
yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? So I always say, be very careful in believing your own hype.
Yes, absolutely. You must be careful. I would venture to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, how much do you just teach people about understanding money? I find very few people really understand how money works, and therefore they're always looking at the top line number and they're not having this basic financial conversation that you and I are having now.
Well, it's crazy you said it. I was talking to somebody about that the other day and trying to get in some schools and just talk to kids about uh, uh, just starting a checking account, just understanding the difference between, I mean, think about everything we teach in school, but the main things that we need for life are not taught.
No.
You can ask any high school kid right now to balance a checkbook and they'd be clueless.
Oh no, 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 no. Just the fact that they have to write it out, do some long-handed math and see what's going on, you're
They'd be
going to
clueless.
lose their attention span. Yeah, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, we know how to sit in a cubicle and do what you tell us to do, right? Because we've
Yes.
sat at the desk all day and done what you told us to do. But if I had to balance a checkbook, or if you gave me $100 and said, "Hey, I need you to go do X, Y, Z and bring me back a certain amount, make sure you only spend this and on that," it would be a headache for them
Yes.
because
Yes.
the basics aren't being taught.
No. And the conversations are not being had at home. I'm the kind of person, my mindset, I have three children just like you, three sons, different ages. But I've always tried to teach finance at home because I know it's not taught in school. I know it's not taught in school. I know the basics of profit and loss, like you said, income, expenses, taxes. It's not even a discussion, not only in middle school or high school, not even in college. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
very few people understand the financial implications of accumulating a whole lot of debt and coming out. Maybe you become a doctor, maybe you become a lawyer, but when you owe so much money back, I mean, people are graduating with mortgages. They're graduating owing $300,000. That's a big number.
yeah. It's funny. I was blessed because early in life, my mom had a variety craft shop in Jamaica. So in Jamaica, she had a store. She was an entrepreneur, had her own store. And after school, I would walk home from school, walk to the store, and I'd spend 3-4 hours behind the counter taking money and working with customers and understanding the importance of customer service and everything. And I would say to my mom, we would sell an item, and I would say to my mom, "We just made $100." She said, "No,
New.
we made $20. We paid $80 for the product."
Yes. Yes.
Right? And there was
Yes.
a markup. Then there's a markup on the product. But just you got to remember, we had to buy the product in order to sell it. Right? And then out of all the sales we've made, this building that we're in, there's a thing called a mortgage or a rent.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So yeah, we sold $100 item, but we netted out of that $100 $10
Yes.
because there
And
was cost involved in that.
which is why we can't get excited over the $100 and why we have to straighten up the shelves and get ready to do it again. So,
Again and
brother,
again.
we are discovering things that we have in common during this conversation. You're the son of an entrepreneur. I'm the son of an entrepreneur. My father had an office cleaning business, and that he started the year I was born.
Right.
Many years later, my older brother still has the business to this day. So I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I was dumping garbages, cleaning ashtrays, and really seeing the inside of an office from the bottom. And the only dream for me was to get an office job. I wanted to go from cleaning the office to working in the office and figuring out how all of that worked. But having an entrepreneur father and a very entrepreneurial family, people that think like that, what can we do? What service can we provide that's we can do well enough that people will pay us for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's beautiful, and definitely you brought the Jamaican work ethic. So when you go from Jamaica to Florida and work in Publix, You may have been young, you may have been new, but you weren't new. You were doing what you already knew how to do. You knew customer service, you knew people, and you understood how important it was to take care of products.
And I actually advanced pretty quickly based on that work ethic. And I can always, I always look back and thank my parents for the way I was raised, the way I was brought up, because it definitely, looking back, was very instrumental in my progression as far as how fast I was moved from bagger to stop boy, from stop boy to running the front end. You know what I mean? But my dad always taught me, dress the part. Not the
Yes.
part that you have, but dress the part that you want. So even though they issued me a polo shirt as a bagger, I always went with a shirt and tie.
That's it. That's it. Dressing for the job you want.
So even though I was on the front bagging groceries, all the other baggers had polos. I had a shirt and tie. Customers would come to me asking questions as if I was the manager.
Yes. Well, you were acting as if.
I would act as if you ask me, I'm act as if, right? And it got noticed, and that's what got me, promoted swiftly through the company in different areas as I look back. And so I always try to teach people that I mentor, you have to have the mindset and the posture of where it is you want to be, not where you are.
I love it. Expand on the word posture. I'm not going to let you put a jewel like that right there and just leave it. What does that mean practically?
For me, posture is the way one carries themselves.
Yes.
I expect for people to look at me like I'm the manager, even though I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's even when you go to places, I expect to be given VIP service because I approach it as if I'm a VIP.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just a posture where you walk into a room and people say, that person must be the manager. That person must be a boss. You know what I mean? It's the way you carry yourself. And it's not being arrogant,
no,
but being very confident in
yes.
what it is you do and what your abilities are. And so I always say to people, focus on personal development is huge. Yes. In my book, right? Jim Rohn said it best. He says, the only thing you really need to work on more than anything else is yourself.
It's full-time work. It's
full-time work.
It's right? Full-time.
Everything else you can accomplish as long as you've mastered working on yourself. He says, the person that thinks they know it all really knows nothing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll make you laugh. I said that to my doctor yesterday. Literally, I'm having an annual physical with my doctor, and he began to ask me about his insurance. He said, Kevin, I got a guy. I've been with him for a while. I don't know what I'm paying. I don't know this. I said, you need to know the same thing for me I need to know from you. I think I'm healthy, but I have to see you for my annual physical. You asked me about your insurance because you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay. You just don't know it. You are invested in learning the medical world. I'm invested in knowing insurance. So it's no shame in asking me about something. I don't know what I don't know. And I'm comfortable with that. Yeah. So speaking of not knowing, being humble in this spot, you know some things that I don't know. You have really done extremely well in the network marketing, the multi-level marketing world. Again, starting in 2003, going all the way up to today, you're one of the executive trainers. You travel the country teaching people. How did that start? And what was the key to leapfrogging from where you started to where you are today?
So in 2003, I was managing one of the flagship stores for the grocery store chain that I was part of. I was making six figures. But I was working long hours. I used to tell people I only worked half days, 2 to 2, 4 to 4, 6 to 6. And doing that about 5 or 6 days a week. So I really didn't have any time freedom. Mm-hmm. And I had tried some other network marketing opportunities in the past and never really did well with them. And so I had written off network marketing. And I was like, I'd never do another network marketing company again. Mm-hmm. And a gentleman walked into my store, Ron Green, and asked me to come look at what was prepaid legal at the time. He invited me to a hotel meeting. Mm-hmm. And I said no. And he would come every single week. And every week I would tell him no. And this went on for about 6 months. And it was a Friday afternoon. I remember clearly. I was looking at my cameras, getting my stuff together at my desk, getting ready to leave. And I saw him walk in. And I called my front office cashier and I said, whatever you do, you tell that man that's coming up to the counter right now, I'm not here.
Right.
But he saw my car up front and wouldn't leave.
I love it.
I wanted to go home. I walk out. I said, Mr. Green, what part of no don't you understand? And he said the one thing that changed my life. He says, look, Mr. Edwards, is it fair to say that most of your good decisions are usually made when you have 100% of the facts? I say, yeah. He says, all I want you to do is come listen, get 100% of the facts. And he says, no matter what you decide after that, I'll never bother you again. He says, but if you don't come, I'll be here again next week.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go agree.
Eating just to get this guy to stop bugging me.
Yes.
What I saw made sense. One of the features of Legal Shield is they do your will, your living will, and your medical health care directive. It just so happens 2 of my kids are actually adopted.
Okay.
Right? So I was in a foster to adopt class at the time. I knew I needed to get a will done. I had priced it out. My frat brother, who was an attorney, was going to do it at a discount for about $500. And then I go to this presentation and they say, we do your will, your living will, and your medical health care directive. It's included in the membership. The membership's $29 a month. And we do it for you and your spouse or significant other. I was like, well, let's try $29 compared to $500. Let me try that. And then they went to the compensation. And I was thinking, well, I'm in a class with 38 other people that probably need to get a will done. I could make some extra money.
Yes.
My first year, I made $30,000.
Nice.
My second year, I did over 50. My third year, I did over 80,000. My fourth year, I did over 6 figures. And it was paying me more than it was paying my full-time job was paying.
And that's the perfect time for the pivot.
Right. I waited 3 years. I wanted to make sure it was legit.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing.
I waited 3 years of making 6 figures, working 60 hours in retail with grocery retail, and 6 figures part-time with Legal Shield. And then it got to a point where my residual, meaning just based on what I had already done, was paying me about $8,000 or $9,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Just meaning if I didn't do anything else, it was still going to pay me that type of income. And that's when I decided. So July 4th, Independence Day, 2009, I put my 2 weeks notice in for July 4th, 2009, Independence Day. And that's when I walked away from corporate America and didn't look back. You know what I mean? I've been blessed to work with some amazing people. I got an amazing team. With our business model, we have what we call a wheel of opportunity. Some people can do just what we do is network marketing, friends and family, build a large organization. You sell individual memberships here and there. And then there's a division in there called our B2B, our business to business division, where you can take that product, that service, that legal plan, and take it to companies as an employee benefit. And so that's the area I focused on the most, is just, and so I built a core group. So I have a network marketing team, right? So on paper it says I got over 2,000 people, but the 80-20 rule.
The people that's doing the work.
Quit and done nothing, and then 20% of them are doing a great job. And then there's a core group that I have that we do B2B, where we go to companies and provide it as a benefit to employees. And it's been very successful doing that. And then, so that's it. You know what I mean? The company has paid me millions over the years. And I've been blessed to work with a great organization. I'm a part of a great team, Team New Vision. We got some great leadership, you know what I mean, which is very vital to one's success, in my opinion.
Yes.
Who you partner with is very important in any business, right? In any situation.
In life, business,
life period. Whoever you partner with is very important.
It's a strong word.
It's a strong word. Right?
We're going to spend time together. We should enjoy it.
We should enjoy
money or otherwise. We should enjoy it.
Yeah. So I've been blessed in that area. And then, about 6 years ago, people who did not want to do Legal Shield were still interested in how I was so successful in sales. And so I decided to start Stair Steps LLC, where we do sales training and coaching. And so I have an online sales course. So I created a 13-module sales course where we teach everything from prospecting to finding, sitting down with the customer, presenting, closing the deal, asking for the sale, finishing the sales process, getting referrals, follow up, everything. So I take you through the entire sales process in that module. And that course has created some major success for those that have taken it. And so, and then I have an elite program where I do personal coaching. So for the few people that want to be personally coached, I have a 90-day coaching program where we talk on a regular basis. You tell me what your product, your service is. We build it out. I look at every area of your business. We come up with a game plan and we go to market. And I guarantee you in those 90 days, your sales are going to be doubled or tripled.
I love it. So the beauty, you gave a whole lot there. I want to digest it in little bites. I don't want to stuff it all in my mouth or my head or anything else. So I want to break some things down that you said. First off, your 13 module course, I've looked at it. It's incredible. What I love about your course is that it is not limited to Legal Shield. It goes for any product. Yeah. Whatever you're selling, if you're selling something worthwhile, you must begin with prospecting and you must end with asking for the referral, and all the steps in between need to be taught, because as we said earlier, talking about school, these things are not taught. These things are not taught. So for people out there that's listening to this, you have an idea, you have a product, you have a service, you have a business that's a little bit stagnant, and you want to take the next step in selling, I strongly endorse my brother in his course, because it will take you there. And mentors matter big time. So I want to ask you about the joy of mentoring others, but who are some of your mentors? Who mentored you along the way?
Oh man, where do I start? So my mom, of course, earlier on in her entrepreneurship world, she taught me everything about customer service, how to take care of a customer, how you treat people. Then when I started working with Publix, I had a great store manager by the name of Craig Berger. He hired me. You really weren't supposed to hire 14-year-olds, but I kept bugging him and he gave me an opportunity. So he taught me everything about, basically running the front end of a store, everything. And then when I got into store management, I had a great store manager who I mentored under named Stan Miller. He and I are good friends to this day, but he taught me everything, the back office, how to, how to break down a P&L. Yes. I had a great district manager, John Clark, who was a stickler. Like walking the store with him was like, you would clean the bathroom as spotless as you can, and he would come in and he would go into vet up top.
Yes. What about that?
What about this? And
yes.
Like, you know what I mean? But it taught me perfection. You know what I mean? He was a stickler for cleanliness, and no matter how clean you thought it was, he was gonna find the dirt.
No, I mean? Absolutely.
So it was a chess match to try and let him come out with that white glove white.
Yes. No, you're not going to get me this time. This is good.
Get me this time, partner.
Bottom, I looked under.
And then when I got into network marketing, I was blessed to be a part of an organization, still am, Team New Vision, headed up by a young man by the name of Darnell Self.
Okay.
He's the only person to be named by the National Black Chamber of Commerce Entrepreneur of the Year twice.
Wow.
So by the time he hit the age of 40, he had already helped 40 individuals earn six figures, myself being one of them. And so been able to work with him. And then a guy named Mike Humes, who's now one of my best friends. So he's taught me the network marketing angle. As far as B2B side of the business, there's a young lady named Melissa Wilder. I call her the queen of sales. She is known as Queen Awesomeness when it comes to selling. Any objection out there, she can overcome it.
I love it.
She's just that good. And so I've been blessed to work with some great people like that. You know what I mean?
Alistair, what I love about that, we did no prep for this podcast, and you not only gave me names, you gave me details of what made them good mentors, not just their name, but specifically what was unique about them and what it showed you. And that tells me a lot about you, how you were paying attention to details and how coachable you were. So let's flip the script. I'm doing my research for this, going through your link tree. You are a mentor and you are a guest on one of the biggest podcasters out there, Mr. David Shands in the Social Proof podcast. You were on it a while ago. I recently had the pleasure of meeting him. I went down to ATL and recorded some things in his studio, but he spoke of you as a mentor that really led him along the way. Talk about David a little bit and what your experience is like being a guest on the Social Proof podcast.
So let me say this about David. I have never seen anyone to this day hungry for knowledge like that young man, to this day. So I met David when he was 18 and he had joined Prepaid Legal. He wasn't on my team, but he was a part of our team. He wasn't on the meeting. I didn't recruit him. Someone else recruited him, but he and I built a great relationship. And I had the opportunity to work with him and mentor him in that area of the business. And we have remained friends since. He has a group right now called the Morning Meetup. So every morning he's been committed to this. This is probably going on 8 years now. Every single morning, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., he's live. And every morning we'll have anywhere from 80 to 300-400 people on there on Zoom.
Beautiful.
Where he's training every day, or someone's training, or you'll have me as a guest trainer, or there's some other people that will train also. But Dave has always had a hunger for learning about people. And he's a great interviewer. He's good at asking questions.
Yes.
And an avid reader. And so much respect for Dave Shands. Much respect for Dave Shands. It's truly been an honor to watch him grow and be a part of his journey. But I got a lot of respect for that young man.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. So fast forward today, not only you're leading people, you're mentoring people, and you mentioned your coaching programs. How rewarding is it just to mentor people in general, just to be the mentor and the guide that other people were for you, that you get to be for other people now?
I think the joy in is seeing the results. So for example, this past month, we just celebrated a young lady on my team hitting what we call the platinum position.
Okay.
She made about $28,000 last month part-time. She's a full-time Atlanta police officer, but in the last 12 months, she's made over 6 figures with us on a part-time basis.
I love it. I love it.
And then I got another young man who I've been mentoring, Martavius Hillman, who he did over 200,000 part-time in the last 12 months with us on a part-time basis, right? And then outside of Legal Shield, there's a young lady, El Elion. She's actually from England.
Okay.
And she took my online sales course program, and then I got to work with her a little bit. Her first month, just by using one of the modules in there, got her first major contract with one of her aspiring customers. And so I think the excitement for me is watching other people have success. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Is knowing you said something or imparted something or taught something that someone implemented and actually went to work with. And I always say to people, a coach is really only as good as the student.
Yes.
Right?
I like that. I like that.
I love when people come to me and say that program didn't work. And I always ask myself, well, how much of the work did you do that the program asked you to do?
Yes. Yes.
Right. I can honestly say this. Not everyone that has joined my team with Legal Shield has been successful, but everyone that has joined and done what I've told them to do makes 6 figures.
That's the 80-20 rule. That's the difference. It's one thing to be a student. It's one thing to be a mentor, but you must do the work. It's not enough to have the good ideas. So I had a saying I used to say, and you'll agree with the first part of it, and I actually put in my recent book. It said, if you never stop learning, you'll never stop earning. But then I was corrected by my mentor. I said, no, Kevin, to learn and to earn, you actually have to apply what you learn. It's not enough to learn it. You actually have to apply it. You have to apply it. We have to apply it.
Yeah.
So let's deviate a little bit. We're talking a lot of business. We're talking family. Let's talk charity. Let's talk about Work, Play, Love.
Okay. So a couple of charities that I'm a part of. Work, Play, Love. Young lady in Legal Shield, Kim Melia, started Work, Play, Love in Guatemala, to where they have adopted kids that have been abandoned. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think there's about 50 boys and about 60 girls. So 2 houses right down the street, one for the girls, one for the boys, but they house those kids, educate them, feed them, house them, educate them, everything. provide medical care for them. So I had the opportunity to go down there and visit them this past year in a great experience, humbling experience. To see kids who really have nothing, just to be overjoyed by the little that they have, it makes you grateful for the things that you have.
So help my audience understand what you mean by abandoned. I mean, we're in America and we know that
There are some kids,
single parent and no parent, but help me understand
and
abandoned. That means
it could
everybody's
be,
walking away.
abandoned for different reasons. So I can think of the girls. There are two twins down there, a set of twins that are, what do you call them, conjoining twins?
Yes.
That had to be separated at birth. So two heads. One has the right and the left, right arm, left leg. The other one has the left leg. One has the right arm, right leg. One has the left leg, left arm. They were cut in half, and they lived their life
Together.
Well, they're separated now.
My God.
But they're at the orphanage. So the parents who had those kids, it was too much for them, so they just abandoned them. And work, play, love takes care of them, takes care of their medical needs, make sure they get food, make sure they get well educated. And to watch those young ladies smile and joy and move around and dance in their little chairs, it makes you appreciate life on a whole different level.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another charity that we're big on is a fertile ground. So my two mentors that I told you about, Darnell Self and Mike Humes, they founded a fertile ground. But one of the things they do, Mike Humes went to elementary school in a very rough neighborhood in DC. Every year, they provide Christmas gifts for every single child in that school.
Wow.
Every single child. So every year, right? They provide relief for kids in Haiti. So every year there's stuff they donated to children in Haiti. That no one talks about it, Brad. It's not one of those things where we advertise or anything. It's just what we do. You know what I mean? And so those are the two charities that I'm really that I push and that I support.
That's beautiful. So anybody watching this, if you tuned in, first off, follow this brother on IG and every place else that his Linktree leads you. You see his name right there at Alistair Edwards. Please follow this brother. I think you can tell by the conversation that we've had that he's doing incredible work, not only in business, but in charity as well. Those of you out there looking for coaching, for leadership, for training, I strongly endorse him. So, Alistair, we're going to bring it to a close. I got two final questions I usually like to ask. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you that you think would add value to the audience?
I just want to talk to people about, especially those in the entrepreneurial world. I just want you to know that you're right around the corner from whatever that goal is.
Ooh, yes.
Right. So as entrepreneurs, one of the things we really lack is the support that we need to move forward. Entrepreneurship can be a lonely sport, right? Everybody rallies around you when you're doing well. Nobody seems to know you when you're in a slump.
Yes.
Right. I want to talk to those of you that are in the slump. I'm a firm believer that God didn't give you a vision to abandon you in that vision.
Yes.
Right. What he did give you, though, is some tests that you have to pass to carry through that vision. So two things I want you to do. I want you to first never give up. Stay focused. Keep the faith. I'm a firm believer you need to have some type of spiritual base, whatever that is for you and your family. I'm not here to push anyone. I'm just saying you need to believe in a higher power that believes in you.
Yes.
And know that they have your best interest at heart, right? And then you need to find a mentor or a coach, right? And I'm a firm believer, everything, you and I have been blessed to work with Justin Burns.
Yes.
Right? with our He's the one that's mentored us with courses and things like how to develop courses like that. And I always say the person that thinks he can do it all is the biggest idiot in the room.
Of course. Of course.
Right? I would rather find a person that has done it, made the mistakes, and taken years to make those mistakes and perfect it, and say, hey, just tell me what I need to do.
That's it.
I don't need to know what, right?
No.
Let me know what not to do, right?
Yes,
I don't need to go through your tribulations.
No.
I just need to learn from your tribulations. And I think that's what a coach or a mentor is. It's someone that has already gone where you want to go and is willing to give you the guide of how they got there. You know, when I was in college, I sold books door to door for 2 summers. I knocked on over 3,000 doors my first summer.
Yes.
And then came back with a team the second summer and had a top performing sales team of college students selling books door to door. And I learned a lot that summer. The first year I learned strategy and the power of a mentor. I was mentored by a young guy named Dwayne Rayner on selling. And he used to tell me, hey, the first hour of your day, first 2 hours of your day is to actually find a person who doesn't have to work, who doesn't really have any money, but you sit with them and they tell you about everything on the street.
Yes.
So I would sit down with Miss Jones, who was retired, who didn't have any kids. We were selling encyclopedia books and Black history books.
I love it. I love it.
I would sit on her porch and laugh and joke with her and tell her how great she was. And she would say, yeah, Mr. Spann lives over there. He has 3 sons. And right next to him is Miss Jones. She has a kid going off to college. And there are the Lewises over there. And they have, so by 5 o'clock, gravy hour, when everybody was coming home, I would walk up to you. Hey, Mr. Spann, how you doing?
Nice.
You're trying to figure out, who's this kid? How does he know my name? Look, I'm Alistair Edwards. I'm a college student from Florida A&M. I'm here working my way through college this summer, and I just wanted to make sure that your boys had the proper books necessary to be successful in college. Bam.
I love it.
So I love it. You know, I got a book coming out next week, Prospecting. It's going to be a download book, $9.99. It's $9.99, right? So less than $10. But I'm talking to you about prospecting. How do you find your customers and prepare for them, right? You need to get that book. If you're in sales and you're trying to figure out how to find your customers, prospecting. But it's things I learned from the book field, things I learned in Publix, things I learned in network marketing, that I'm putting it all in one book just to help people understand how to find their perfect customer and close the deal. So yeah, man.
That is a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. All my salespeople out there, insurance world, real estate world, lending world, prospecting is the bread and butter. It is the planting of the seed part of what we do. We don't plant any seeds. We can't expect any flowers, trees, or vegetables to grow. We must prospect. So you kind of answered the second question with the first one, but I'm going to ask it anyway because you got so much with you. I'm sure you'll give me a different answer. So this is called the Wind Down with Kev, the Dream Chaser podcast. And I do this specifically for people that are out there chasing a dream. So I want you to close us out with an encouraging word for someone that's chasing a dream that may feel like they're at the end of the road, but I want you to tell them something encouraging so they can keep going.
Okay. Your success, right, is so important that somebody else's success is hinged to it. Right? So the reason you got to keep going is because there's someone in a worse situation than you that has to see you succeed to realize that they can too.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Alistair Edwards at Alistair.Edwards. Nothing but wisdom, nothing but jewels. Watch for his book. It's probably coming out next week, exactly when this podcast drops. So look for it. It's called Prospecting. It's only $9.99. Get it now. Thank me later. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching an episode of Wind Down with Kev. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw, please do me a favor and click on the notifications and the subscribe button. Thank you. One more thing. You probably learned a lot about my guests, but you don't know anything about me. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about me, who I am, what I do, if you'd like to learn about my mentorship program where I teach agents how to launch a 6-figure career, or my new one where I'm going to give away the 8-figure insurance agency blueprint, or you want to get a free copy of my ebook, Mentorship Matters, my podcast page, my IG page, whatever it is that you know about me, I'm an open book. Click on my link tree right here, book an appointment, book a call, and you can join my community and be a part of everything we do.